The day the courthouse doors swung open and the young man stepped into the sunlight laughing, it felt as if the sky itself had cracked. People would later argue about what that laugh meant, whether it was nerves or arrogance, but for those who had watched a life unravel in slow motion, it sounded like something far worse. It sounded like the echo of a system that had forgotten who it was meant to protect. In that single moment, a husband somewhere lost his breath all over again, and a town quietly learned how heavy injustice could feel when it landed on ordinary shoulders. If you believe stories of kindness, accountability, and second chances still matter in a world like this, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach people who need them most. This is a fictional, composite story inspired by real emotions and struggles, not real names, yet the pain it carries is painfully familiar. The heart of it belongs to a man named Daniel, a biker who loved the open road because it reminded him that freedom was real and honest. His wife, Claire, rode behind him for years, her arms wrapped around his waist, trusting him with her life and the future they dreamed about together. She was the kind of woman who laughed easily, who believed fairness was not just a word but a promise, and who never imagined that one careless moment could erase her place in the world. On a quiet afternoon, metal met asphalt, sirens cut the air, and Claire was gone, leaving behind a helmet on the road and a man who suddenly had no idea how to breathe without her. The driver who caused the crash was young, well-dressed, and powerful in ways Daniel could never be. He was the son of a senator, a name that opened doors and softened consequences. As the case unfolded, Daniel learned how quickly truth could be buried under polished statements and expensive lawyers. Evidence seemed to blur, timelines shifted, and responsibility dissolved into technicalities. Each court date felt like reopening a wound that never closed, watching strangers debate his wife's final moments as if they were numbers on a page instead of the end of a living, breathing human being. Daniel struggled through nights that stretched endlessly, the house echoing with silence where laughter used to live. He kept Claire's jacket hanging by the door, unable to move it, unable to let go. The biker community rallied around him, not with speeches, but with presence, parking their bikes outside the courthouse as a quiet reminder that Claire mattered. Still, when the verdict came and the young man walked free, smiling as cameras flashed, something inside Daniel collapsed. It wasn't just grief anymore, it was the crushing realization that justice had slipped through his fingers, leaving him holding nothing but anger and disbelief. For months afterward, Daniel drifted. He rode his motorcycle until the road blurred, chasing exhaustion because sleep brought memories he couldn't control. He thought about revenge, about screaming, about disappearing entirely. But every time he stood at the edge of those thoughts, he remembered Claire's belief in decency, her stubborn faith that doing the right thing mattered even when no one was watching. That memory became a quiet anchor, pulling him back from the darkest waters. Change didn't arrive loudly. It came in small, almost invisible steps. Daniel began speaking, first to a few friends, then to small gatherings about road safety and accountability. He told Claire's story not to inflame anger, but to humanize loss. He worked with local groups to support families navigating the justice system, offering them what he had lacked most, someone who understood. Slowly, the weight on his chest shifted. It didn't disappear, but it transformed into something he could carry without breaking. The young man's laughter faded from headlines, but Daniel's work did not. Laws began to change in small ways, not because of power or privilege, but because persistence refused to be ignored. Daniel learned that walking free from court did not mean walking free from consequence, and that true justice sometimes took a longer, harder road. Through grief, he found purpose. Through loss, he found a way to honor love. As this story draws near its end, take a moment and leave a comment sharing where you're watching from or what part of the story stayed with you the most. In the final stretch of his journey, Daniel stood at a memorial ride years later, engines rumbling softly as riders gathered to remember those lost. He placed Claire's helmet at the base of a tree, the wind moving through the leaves like a whisper. He understood then that while some people walked away laughing, others walked forward carrying truth, compassion, and the courage to keep going. If this story touched your heart, if it stirred something deep inside you, please like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe so more stories like this can be told. Sometimes the most powerful justice is not what happens in a courtroom, but what happens in the human heart when it refuses to give up.